On today's video, we're going to be talking about important changes in the Reno Sparks real estate market. While this is going to be an update for the recap of August, I know that nobody really cares about specific numbers and whatnot, so after I get through going over some of that, we are going to talk about what this actually means for buyers and sellers, so make sure you watch until the end. So I'm just going to dive right on in with the median sales price. At the end of August, we saw a decrease in the median sales price from the previous month. This is a super minor change, and we know that in most recessions, price tags usually remain where they are or increase. So a decrease is not typical, and I believe that this is temporary. Median days to contract saw a 5.6% increase. We all know that the market is cooling off, so properties are sitting on the market longer. That is what this means, and this is indicative of that. We had a total of 200 new listings for the month of August. Surprisingly, this was actually a 7% decrease from the month before. It feels like there is a lot more inventory coming online right now. We are seeing a lot more options for buyers. So the fact that that number actually decreased does surprise me, but I do think it's temporary, and I do think overall that is a pretty minor change. Month supply of inventory also decreased by 8.6%. Again, this is a surprise. I do feel like with the market cooling off, we are seeing more inventory coming online. So now I want to talk about this more in the context of what has happened over the course of the last year, because going month to month, we do see minor ups and downs and changes. But if we look at things over the course of an entire span of a year, changes to the market become a lot more obvious and a lot more apparent. So let's check that out. So as I just mentioned, typically in a recession, we see price tags hold out where they are or increase. So if we look at where we were at a year ago, we have increased our price tag by 4.7% from an entire year ago. So that is holding true. Median days to contract has also increased by a whopping 375% from where we were a year ago. I remember last summer, it was like such a panic attack race every time you were working with a buyer to get an offer in. It was typical to be submitting 20 or 30 offers for every buyer before you actually got one accepted, because it was just so competitive. I remember going to showings and there would be a line around the block of other agents and their clients waiting for their turn to get in. Sometimes they would overlap, and it wasn't uncommon for sellers to get 30, 40, 50 offers all on the same property. Because of all that, properties were sitting on the market for hours, sometimes days, and in very rare cases, like up to a week. So the fact that the median days to contract now is much closer to a month, we're at 29 days, I think is wonderful. I honestly think this is a much healthier market. This enables buyers to consider their situation, to really think about what home they want to buy, to really think about numbers that would go into repairs or what they would want to do to a property to really make it their own, and whether or not it's worth it. It's not this like insane, gotta have it, anything I can get my hands on because I gotta get in now. And yes, the interest rates were driving that mentality because people were like, I gotta get in while money's cheap, right? And now that the rates are higher than they were, there's not this panicked rush situation going on. Okay, as I mentioned, looking from month to month can sometimes be deceiving of what's really going on. Active inventory is a really good metric to look at in this case because, for example, right now, the closeout of August, there were 378 homes that were active on the MLS. That was a 5% decrease from the month before. So if you only look at those 2 months, you're like, oh, that's a downward trend. However, if you zoom out to the year before, that's a 164.3% increase in active inventory. We also can look at the month supply of inventory. So the closeout of August was 2.9%, and same thing, that was an 8.6% decrease from July. Now, if we zoom out to the August 2021 figure, that is a 244.4% increase. That's huge. That's so much more inventory available on the market for buyers. Now, of course, we know that in a perfectly balanced market, there are about 6 months of inventory on the market. I have to say that being on the ground and in the trenches every day, I do feel like because this shift happened almost overnight, it happened really fast, we are kind of seeing a false sense of a buyer's market right now because sellers are panicked. They went from like balls in their court, they've got everything they want, they don't even have to negotiate, they're getting their way on every little thing, to now it's like, oh, Like, there aren't that many buyers out there right now. A lot of people got priced out because of interest rates. A lot of people were already priced out because of the actual price tag of homes. Now their monthly payments with the interest rates are keeping them from being able to buy at all. So there is still strong demand. If you look at the actual data, this technically still is a pretty strong seller's market. But what I'm saying is, because of the drastic change overnight, it is kind of putting up this facade of being an instant buyer's market. That being said, I'm seeing a lot of really big wins for my buyers right now. So, is this a good time to buy a home? And I say without hesitation, yes, it is. If you can afford the higher interest rate within your monthly payment metric, I say go for it, because you are going to get a lot of that back and a lot of that made up for in the form of seller concessions. And that could be anything from price tag reductions to, you could have like a shorter or longer escrow depending on what's needed. Like, I'm seeing sellers be a lot more flexible in that way. You could also get higher repair credits, or they're more willing to bridge the appraisal gaps now. And I'm also seeing them offer up without even being asked in the MLS listing themselves. I'm seeing sellers offer closing credits to buyers. So there is a whole lot of opportunity for buyers in this market right now. And you always have to think, like, these rates are not forever. If you can get in now and pay off these rates while they're here, as soon as they drop, you can refinance. However, these opportunities that sellers are giving up right now are not going to be forever. And once the rates do drop, the competition will again rise for all of these homes. Is right now a good time to sell your home? Well, yes, it is. As long as you purchased your home 1 year ago or more, you have accrued so much equity that the buffer between what you're going to net in a sale and what you paid for it is still super high. Also, like I mentioned, with the data, it is still a seller's market. There is still a scarcity of available homes on the market. That number is slowly catching up to itself, so it's not going to be forever. I do believe we are going to see a total flip at some point, but we're not there yet. That being said, if you are going to sell your home, I think there's still a lot of opportunity for you to net a very high ROI. With that, you have to mitigate your expectations. We are not in the market anymore. We are going to have a line around the block within a matter of moments of listing your home. It's going to take some time. And you have to remember that in a normal market, like pre-COVID, people were having their properties sit between 60 and 120 days, and that was no big deal. So we're not even at that point yet, you guys. This market is still not even fully back into balance yet. So let's kind of reframe the expectation on that. You can expect a longer timeline than what was seen a year ago for sure. You can also expect that buyers are going to want to negotiate. They're kind of in a difficult position right now. Their monthly payments are probably double what they would have been a year ago if they had been buying then, because of the interest rates. So they're expecting some give and take on both ends of the deal. And you're gonna have to come to the table ready to negotiate with them. This is not like ball is totally in your court anymore. All of that being said, there's still a lot of opportunities for you, so it's still a really good time to sell. Whether or not you should buy or sell really depends on your unique situation, so don't take my word for it. Forget what the market says. Evaluate your own finances, your own strategy, your own timeline. Those are the things that matter, because real estate, no matter what is happening in the market, is a long-term game. All right, you guys. What do you think? Questions, comments, concerns about the state of the market? Leave them in the comments below. I will absolutely respond. I love talking real estate. I love talking about the market and all things related. So let's have a conversation. You can also feel free to book a call with me. I have a link to do so in the description box below. 30 minutes, totally free, no obligation. I'm just a resource to you. I will answer your questions. And if you are trying to make a move in real estate, I would love to help you devise your next and best steps. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my upcoming content. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.